Hi mates, here's a part 2 video. So now we're officially in the cypress forest, filled with a plethora of bald cypress, pond cypress, red maples, and plenty of ferns, especially inland fern, and even strap fern that you can see right here. So, for one thing, essentially, it's not just a cypress forest, but we're in a type of wetland that is known as a swamp, in which there are 4 different types of swamps. They include, or 4 different types of wetlands, pardon me. The 4 types include swamps, which is where we are right now. It's mostly forested wetland. You've got marshes, which is mostly herbaceous wetlands, mostly with needle rush and other types of grasses. You've got fens, which are mostly spring-fed, and the water tends to be colder. And then you also have bogs, which are similar to fens in a sense, but bogs tend to have much more stagnant water, and it's a little more acidic too. Unlike fens, the water's a bit more alkaline. But just look at this. So something I wanted to point out to you guys is something known as a strangler fig that you can see right here, branching along this bald cypress. So the strangler fig is actually a species that falls under the genus of Ficus. So, it's a couple of weeks ago I did a video on figs, as more of a general scenario. But here is a great example of a native fig. And you can see how it wraps around the tree. So in a sense, it is slowly strangling the tree. But not all at once, of course. But it's quite neat how strangler fig works. So it initially starts up in the canopy, and then it makes its way down. And then it establishes and will create its own little network to create other strangler figs. But I believe the particular, well, hold on a second. Oh, my bad, actually. I was wrong. I had to double check myself. So actually the strangler fig starts from the ground up and makes its way up the tree. Pardon me. Disregard what I said earlier. But the butterfly that uses the strangler fig as a host plant is the ruddy daggerwing. So it kind of has like a reddish orange appearance. And I don't know, their shape is so unique in that they kind of look like a angel. I mean, butterflies are angels, right? But strangler figs are quite abundant out here. And even though they're called strangler figs, they don't necessarily kill the tree. But you have to figure too, Corkscrew Sanctuary is one of the only few ancient forests that exist in Florida. It's one of the only remaining untouched. So you figure some of these bald cypress here probably age around 500 or so years old, especially some of your more mature trees. So you figure these trees have a lot of stories to tell in terms of what they've seen, in terms of like the wildlife and even the different types of people that have been here. I mean, just look at this. They're truly a beautiful tree. And they're actually, they were so sought after because bald cypress is naturally rot resistant. So it's a very durable wood. And for another, it's called bald cypress because it's one of the only few conifer trees that actually lose their needles. So they're like a deciduous conifer, which doesn't really happen too often in the natural world. Most conifers, they'll lose their needles and then they'll immediately replace them. But bald cypress, they have like a winter period where they basically don't have any needles whatsoever. Now, for the longest time, swamps, or just wetlands in general, were highly misunderstood. A lot of people just simply thought they were a place of disease and decay. I mean, yeah, there is decay that happens, but in that process of decaying, organic matter is being created as a result, even soil. The best way that we can put it is wetlands literally serve as a natural water purification system. So through the use of plants and groundwater recharge, the water literally has a chance to be filtered. And so usually around this time of the year, given that the water levels are a bit lower, it gives a chance for the aquifers to be recharged. So, of course, wetlands, they're an excellent haven, too, for wildlife, just based on the sheer diversity of plants that exist here. That's why really our wetlands need to be protected at all costs, at least of what remains. And Corkscrew Sanctuary really provides just an excellent demonstration of what wetlands are capable of. So, alrighty. I'm going to wrap up this video, and thank you for taking the time to watch. Alright, take care.